Yo, yo, yo. Welcome on in to the Inspire Network podcast, episode 3. With
Welcome to number 3.
Yours truly, Jimmy Gill and Julian Lieber, back again, trying
What's
to
up,
pump
everybody?
as much content as we can in the forefront here. We have our first guest join. We got a first timer here,
and we are very excited to have him on board.
He's going to be a young entrepreneur. He's one of my best friends, known him for a very long time. Great guy, very ethical human being, loves to do the right thing, tries to do the best he can in his craft. He is the founder of Swain's Hockey Skills and Development, the founder of Back Bar Tourneys. He is currently the U18 AAA and U16 AAA elite hockey coach over at the New Jersey Titans in Middletown. And without further ado, let's bring on the man himself, Mr. Ryan Swain.
Swain, what's up, Ryan?
Not much. How are you guys? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no
Good,
worries.
man.
We're finally getting our first guest on, and we wouldn't want to have anyone else on for the first time. I think you have a lot to offer. I think you guys know each other, right? We all know each other. You guys.
Oh, that's for sure. I think we played on a
the
line together, Swain, back in the day.
Yeah,
line mates.
Right.
Team Canale. Team
Canale.
So, Rye, as our first guest, why don't you go ahead and I kind of gave you a little bit of an introduction there, but why don't you go ahead and give us some things about Swain's Hockey Skills and Development and what inspired you to kind of go along that road, and give us a little details on your background in the hockey world.
Okay, so I'm 26 years old, same age as Jimmy, and I guess Jules is a year older, right? You're 94.
95, just early.
Are you?
Yeah, 27 though. I'm 95 at 27, just turned it.
I don't know why I thought 94, but
awesome.
Yeah, so I started Swain's Hockey Skills and Development in 2018. I kind of did a little bit of stuff, I guess, for a year or two before I actually started the company. But I kind of got the idea when I probably in high school, honestly, maybe even before, where I realized that school really wasn't for me, and I just knew I couldn't take it, and I told myself that I really didn't want to work for anybody, so I kind of had to figure it out, and what a better way to do it than just keep being involved in the game that I love. So I was a little nervous at first of just starting it and like going out what people would think and whatnot, but I said, screw it, you got to do it. So I did it and never looked back. And then it's been going good so far. And yeah, I don't really have anything else to say, I guess, about it. Like, it just kind of almost felt natural to me to just do it. Everyone would say, oh, you got to go to school. And I was like, no. Like, I ended up going to college to play hockey, but if I didn't play hockey, I wouldn't have went to college.
And where'd you go to school? Or
back to school.
Yeah.
What school?
So I started at Northland College. I was in Wisconsin, and then I transferred to Newman University, and I left after my almost 3 years. I left like halfway through my third year.
Oh, wow.
That was it.
No kidding.
Yeah.
It's like 2 years ago.
And one thing, Rye, too, like with, I've seen you kind of grow this company from something that we have, a handful of clients, from the Toms River area, a handful of clients. You start to build more and more traction around the multiple youth hockey groups that we have in this region of the state. And, now I see you starting to become very successful at this point. I know you're definitely not satisfied. I know that you're definitely in a good spot. We've talked a lot about it. One thing I'd like to ask you, though, is, you talk about, loving the game, and it was pretty much a no-brainer for you naturally with just kind of evolving from being a junior hockey player and a product of the game to go ahead and teaching what you had learned. I kind of want to know, like, what within your body of work and what you do at Swain's Hockey Skills is different from other hockey skills companies or, people that are in the same type of job area business that you're in.
Yeah, I mean, right off the bat, the first thing that that I kind of take pride in is quality control, and I try to do the best that we can with who's on the ice with who, what kind of skill levels out there, the number of kids that are on at one time, as well as the staff that we have, especially like regarding the summer camps and the different spring programs. Like we have a lot of ECHL, AHL, NHL guys, as well as numerous college and junior A guys. So I feel like it's not like, yeah, my name's on it, but it's not really so much about me. I try to get really my friends and whoever else that I know I have a good relationship involved, because there's so many guys here that I'm friends with and close with that have more knowledge than me, and what better way to get them involved too is to all kind of work together. So that's kind of where like my vision is with it.
No, absolutely. And I think, a lot of the things that I've seen you do, even with quality, when you speak about that, it's a good point to start on. For me and you, we've had the conversations a lot over the years of what could be done differently, and what can be done better in, things with coaching relationships with players and clients, and how we can better round a tournament to be more of a family oriented event rather than just drop your bag and go. Why don't you speak to that a little bit on what you do differently in those areas? Because I've seen it firsthand, but I'd like you to explain where the inspiration comes, where you go ahead and do those for your events in that manner.
So I think it really started when I was playing. Like we've all been to different tournaments and camps and everything else. And like, yeah, it's great and they're fun, but at the end of the day, like what are you really getting? You get the ice time, you maybe get the workout, and that's kind of it. Like they're fun, they serve their purpose for sure. And then the tournament's the same thing. Like I've only been to a couple tournaments where I was like, wow, that was really cool. Like
Yeah,
that stuff at the rink was awesome. Like I can maybe name two out of the however many I've been to, and the
definitely.
rest are kind of just you show up, you play, and that's it. And sometimes that's all you really need to do. But in the summer and different holiday stuff, I feel like it's important to kind of give the kids stuff back and keep the kids in the rink, kind of everyone interacting with each other, getting to know each other more than just the game. And for the tournaments, it's been cool to see. Like we do a lot of stuff in the parking lot. We got food trucks, skills competition, bunch of different giveaways. Partner with a branch of Monkey Sports in Woodbridge. They kind of been hooking us up a lot, trying to get more people involved to get their names out there as well, but also giving back to everybody involved. And then for the camp perspective, like our camp staff list is pretty cool. We've had Anthony Stolars from the Ducks, Cam Deneen from the Coyotes, Joe Gambardella from the Devils,
Not
Yoki
a big
Ryan,
deal.
Yeah,
Char, like
exactly.
he's in Sweden now. We have I it's a laundry list. So like from that perspective, it's really cool for those guys to come out and be involved. And it's obviously cool for the kids to have them there. And I just feel like it's right to take care of the kids at the camp with more than just the on ice. Like I feel like it's important for them to get like a cool jersey, cool t-shirt, shorts, get good food, not just chicken and fries that's from the rink snack bar. Like I feel like all the little things like that really go a long way.
100%. And
100%.
I think you really do a good job of that. I personally, for people that don't know, I work the camps when Ryan has them in the tournaments. Um, I like to pride myself in doing things that I see good in. I don't like to do things that I see people, not getting what their money's worth is, or people that have the wrong intent. And I think from the start, you've always been, you've had a very good view of what you want to capture and how you want your clientele and your teams and your players and parents to feel. So I think you do a really good job. I think it's very unique. And I don't know. I really I admire the stuff that you do. I've told you this a bunch of times. I think it's very important in a world where a lot of people just look for money grabs and tell you whatever you want to hear to make a quick buck. I think you do a very good job at being honest with people, and I think it speaks to where your success is now, because people see the product and they see the integrity, and we couldn't be prouder of you. To say you did a really good job, really really good job, dude.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Jules, I I mean I have another question. Do you have any
I got a
questions for Ron?
question. Yeah. I mean, we've kind of talked about where you're at now, doing quality control while you started it. But like, how was it in the beginning? When you first did just start, we do want to pull people in who are, just starting out in things and kind of motivating them to, just take an action, get the start going. What are some of the obstacles you dealt with in the beginning, just trying to start the company? How did you expand to where you are now? And a little bit about that growth just in the beginning phases.
Yeah, so to start, I mean, it was tough to get the kids and build the trust with the clients and the different clubs and the people around because I was a younger guy. I was, I guess, 21 when I first really started doing it. I was still playing in college and like decently high level player, especially for around here. Down in I really started in Tom's River. There's not many guys around that do this at all, let alone any with a decent background. So I kind of said, let's just give it a shot. And it wasn't easy at first. Like I really wasn't making that much money whatsoever. I mean, and I understood that, like, hey, I'm starting a business, I got to grind. So I would have, if I had one kid at 7 a.m. and then I'd have another kid at 2 o'clock and then another kid at 5 o'clock, like I just had to do it. It's just what it is.
You weren't making money. Obviously, you're getting paid for that time, but like there's more overhead into hockey. So, you're paying for ice time. And how long were you doing that for? Breaking even, grinding at it, doing lessons, and then finally said, okay, finally we can, scale this thing a little bit and start to grow.
Yeah, so I don't think I was ever losing money, but it wasn't like enough money to just do that. Like I'd make
Right.
50
Yeah.
bucks, $60 per day or whatever it is. And it just like, it's not enough for me. Like I didn't want to be satisfied with that. Like it's great that I'm
Yeah.
putting in the time and teaching and everything like that, which I had no problem doing. But like I've been a hockey referee for 13 years. So basically at the end of the night when I was done doing the lesson or whatever, I would go home or get some stuff done, then go back to the rink to ref a couple men's league games, and then still continue to ref on the weekend. So I wouldn't really say it was a full-time job right away, but I just kind of had to build it as we went.
No,
Are you full time with it right now? Is that what you're doing? Full time right
Between this and the coaching, yeah, full-time.
now? Okay.
no, that's amazing.
Yeah, that's awesome, dude.
I want to kind of hear. So like when every entrepreneur goes through the struggles and the obstacles that you've kind of expressed, and you kind of got to figure out what avenue you're going to take, because everything is trying to see what's going to work and what's going to hold, right? So what kind of lessons am I going to run? What players am I going to target? How my tournaments are going to be structured. So like when did you finally begin to see that this thing was starting to take some traction and starting to move forward, where you were like, okay, don't have to be that referee all the way till, wee hours of the night anymore, or, whatever job you were holding at that point? When did you finally say, okay, I think Swain's hockey skills is going to be my forever job?
Maybe not until like 2 years ago. I really kind of dialed it back with the reffing. I reffed a ton, like in school and before that. Like I was doing 23 games a week in season. Like it was a lot. Like,
Grind.
there's definitely it's
Yeah, dude, that is a
for
grind.
college guy and I mean decent money overall. Like there's a lot of money in it. Like 60 to 80 bucks a game. So like you're grinding, like I'm in the skates all the time, and there's a lot of games to do because there's a huge shortage. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, when I started, it's it it wasn't tough, but it was just funny because I would talk to people like, "Oh, what do you do?" And I tell them, and then I go to family dinners, "What do you do?" And then I'd go out, "What do you do?" And I tell them, and they're just like, "Good job, buddy." Like tap on the butt,
It'll
tap on
end
the head.
soon. Yeah, that whole vibe. It'll end
Yeah,
soon, buddy.
yeah, and it was basically like they didn't want like I don't even know how to explain it. I'm sitting there talking. They ask, so I tell them, and they're like, "Yeah, okay, good luck." And
Yeah.
I knew that's kind of what it is because society today, it's like, oh, you have to go to college, you have to have a 9 to 5, yada yada. That's the total opposite of what I wanted. So I just kept the foot on the gas. And the one thing that really stuck out to me was how many people did not want to help and did not want to be involved in the beginning. Like some people be like, oh yeah, I'll help, I'll do whatever you need, blah blah blah, but they're just empty promises. Like it's stuff where I knew right away coming out of their mouth, like it means nothing, holds no weight.
Yeah.
But
And now what? They're
I
just
have
like,
people
hey,
coming- yeah, like now there's people that want to help that like I don't have room for them, or like I don't
Yeah,
need them.
I've already
or
made it, buddy.
it's just I don't even mean that in like an
disrespectful
arrogant way.
way.
It's just
Yeah.
like,
No, absolutely.
yeah, now it's like just a business, and like we do really good stuff, whether it's tournaments, camps, clinics, or whatever. And we have like a pretty tight knit group. And my thing is that like there's a lot of guys around here that do this stuff, and anywhere anybody could do it, right? You could start something and just run with it, but it's more like closed off here. Like if someone has a business, it's like that guy. You're going to
Yeah.
see that guy. You're doing this. For me, it's like I want good guys to help me. I want to work with them. Like I want to learn from them. I don't want to be just me. Like you can't do that. Especially like I just mentioned before, we have NHL guys that come back in the summer and work these camps and they'll help out and everything. Like I'm picking their brain all the time. Like it's not my show. I'll give them a structure and then that's it. Whatever they think and feel they want to do on the ice, or if they have recommendations, like that's what it's all about in my perspective.
No, 100%. I think it's good. It's for somebody to be self-aware that it's not just you don't have I mean, you have the reins on the brand and the name, but to use your assets around you. I know, like, listen, we hang out with the guys all the time with Cam and Anthony. I mean, these guys are, Cam Dineen's an NHL player. Anthony Stolarz is a everyday NHL player. So like on your accord, to be smart enough to really adapt and improve these relationships and get them to believe in your product speaks about what you've built. Because guys like that come home from the summer, and I think you could ask them, I know we've had conversations with Joe, like he doesn't want to waste his time with things that are just like not important. He wants to be involved with something that's definitely going to have growth and definitely has the right message behind it. So I think as, a business owner to have self-awareness like that, I think that's what everyone should be looking for in their own business is how can I utilize the people around me and delegate to try and build the strength of my company and make it a better product. And I think what you just said is a very big point. I hope people were out there listening that even though your name might be on the brand, you might have more value in the guys around you than just what's in your head. So, I mean, do you agree with that, Ryan? Is that kind of what you were getting at?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's so many assets, and like it makes it easy for me. Like we're all friends.
Yeah,
like, we'll hang out and outside of the rink and whatever, and like to do something on the ice for me is just a no-brainer. I mean, they want to be involved to a certain degree, right? To give back, the same as me, and it's obviously really cool for the kids to have like the high-quality players still playing that are coming out. But at the end of the day, like if someone came to me like on the staff, like I'm all ears. It doesn't matter to me.
Yeah.
And people have said to me like, "Oh, why do you have these guys out here?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?"
Yeah.
It makes no sense to not have them.
these guys
NHL guys that want to come on the ice with you, and I'm going to say no. Like, what do you mean?
No, 100%. I mean, Jules, do you have anything to add to that before I was going to ask another question? Do you have anything you want to add to?
I was just thinking, I read somewhere one time, just the difference between dependence, independence, and interdependence. And I don't know if you guys know the difference between those. Interdependence is, being able to utilize the people around you and bring value in all assets. Independence is kind of just like, you rely on yourself to do everything. And independence is, having others, give you the satisfaction of feeling good, right? So interdependence, I read that is one of the highest, forms of business and using other people. And it's I can see it with what you've been talking about, and it just kind of hit me, reading that and then relating it to, it seems how you've been able to scale and where you're at now with your success, which is awesome.
No, it's definitely,
it makes sense. It's one
thing.
thing. It's one thing I kind of realized in school, honestly. didn't really pay attention much, but I probably had 2 or 3 professors at Newman that I really clicked with, and they're business guys, self-made kind of guys, and I would always talk shop with them after class or whatever. And one guy's like, "Oh, you have this business, I see," and I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "How's it going?" I'm like, "Oh, it's pretty good. It's really just me right now." And one thing that he said, he's like, "If you want to expand, you have to get good people to help you." He's like,
Mhm.
you'll never
Right.
be able to grow with just yourself. There's not enough hours in the day." Like I didn't really understand at the time. Like I was like, oh, it kind of makes sense, maybe not, but now it definitely does. Like you have to have good people around that are pulling the rope in the same direction.
No, absolutely. 100%. And that kind of brings me to my next point. So like when you find a group of people, you find a team and you're trying to build this team based off of, I think you can go two ways about it. Either you gotta have them see the product in which the way that you see it, or you kind of have to let them add their own twist onto a part of your idea or vision that you currently bring. What kind of conversations or what kind of like ways do you get people? Because I know your company is unique in what it does. It's not just get on the ice, do a bunch of ring turns, shoot a few pucks, toe drag, pick up the pucks, we're off. Or tournaments is like we said, drop your bags, go home. Like how do you what gets people like going when they hear you start talking about these ideas? Is it the fact that you're willing to go outside the norm, or is it that you just are willing to take a risk to see an idea work, where you might not have tried one, but you have confidence in the vision that you have? Let's talk a little bit about how you kind of inspire people to see it how it is, or let them adapt, a part of their company to yours.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's a little bit of risk, but definitely confidence in what we're doing for sure. Because there always is an unknown, and the big unknown for maybe hockey in this area is a lot of the parents are just not hockey people. Like they're just uneducated about the sport, so sometimes it makes it tough. Some might just want their kid to break a sweat when that's really not what we do. Like we want to challenge their mind and put them outside their comfort zone. Like there's a time and a place to just go zip around and get some reps in, but at the same time, like the people are paying a lot of money. It's not cheap to begin with, so we want to give them the best value that we can. And I think in our smaller group lessons and the camps and this new spring program we're doing, I think that's what it's designed for, as well as the tournaments too, because a lot of this stuff around us, like there's tournaments all the time, and they're I, like they're pretty much charging the same or more than what we do, and they're offering way less. And I just think it's a matter of time, especially with some of the stuff that we're doing out of this new facility, Middletown Sports Complex. Like they have huge turf outside. There's 2 rinks. They have bar, restaurant. There's this beautiful gym, the sports performance lab. They have 2 pools. Like it's insane. And we're doing a ton of stuff here, and it's like you look online and you look at, and not that I pay attention to the competitors. I just go look just for my own sake when I'm messing around on the internet, and I look and I'm like, oh, what's this? I see it on Facebook. Someone posted a tournament. It's more money for less, like just flat out. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So we really try to do something different, and we try to give them back. Like for instance, the partnership with Monkey Sports Woodbridge. It's one of the biggest stores around for hockey. It might be the only one, other than a couple pro shops. But like they're giving every player a welcome package with free skate sharpening, 20% off for the weekend, a water bottle, and a string bag. Like that's pretty cool for every kid that comes
Yeah,
in.
absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah.
No, 100%. I think that people lack one thing that I can see people's businesses where they kind of go wrong a little bit of the time is, and obviously me and Julian are trying to build our own right now. Trying to build a following and a culture around these things. And some things I see from, people, not yourself, Ryan, but what you had just spoken to is like you gotta let you gotta let people in, and you gotta let people put their own twist, and you gotta go out of the norm and be able to take risks to have that vision grow. Because if you stay within the same lines of somebody that's been doing what you're trying to do for 20 years, you're going to get run over because that guy's just so far ahead of you. So you have to be able to go outside those train tracks where they're heading down the same road. You got to be able to navigate and go outside of that realm a little bit, and let people who come along with you kind of give some of their ideas. And you can definitely veto them. You have that power. You can veto whatever idea comes along. But I think the power to let somebody come in and not have an ego, where you can go ahead and say, okay, I'm willing to listen. Let's give this a shot. Um, I think it's definitely something that helps businesses grow. And the ones that don't kind of get caught in stagnancy until they decide to let this develop into a unique item. And I think that you do that very well. We've talked a lot about some things that we, in your camps and stuff, you bring a lot of the ideas, but you're definitely a guy that likes to have his ear open to ideas. I know, George Havlin with the Titans is the same way. He's, a guy that's been very successful over the span of his career at Middletown, building the Titans. They have the NA program there, all the other stuff he does away from the rink. And I know he is definitely a guy that when you guys talk, there's no ego in the room. It's just two guys trying to get a job done and trying to get something, build something with value and put out a good product. And I think what you just said about your own company with letting people in and bring their own unique spin to Swain's Hockey Skills lets people get a better idea of the picture that you're trying to show them of what your brand actually is. Does that make sense? Is that kind of what you were going at?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, well said. Definitely.
What do you think, Julian? Do you have anything to add, or any other questions?
Is this your first business that you've kind of started? Have you had any other businesses, small ones that have just like failed out, and then this one was just the one that kind of clicked, or because
Yeah. So, go ahead.
yeah,
Sorry.
no, that was my question.
I was just, yeah, this is the first one that I did, and people helped me like formulate the LLC and get that taken care of. And then I've had someone get the logo and the website and everything else. And it just kind of still building it now. Like it's not perfect, got more
No,
stuff to
right, yeah.
do and everything else. But I started another one, as Jimmy mentioned earlier. It's called Back Bar Tourneys. It's
Oh yeah, talk a little bit about that.
it's an adult hockey
Beer league.
So
That's
I want
fun.
to separate the kids and the adults, obviously, but we strive to do the same,
Yeah,
Love
clearly.
same thing.
Kids get booze.
Yeah. So it's designed for 3-on-3. Like we're gonna do some full ice stuff also, but my main vision with it was 3-on-3, and to have the nets.
Oh yeah,
set
Jimmy
up-
did talk about this a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, to set up the nets long ways as opposed to cross ice, and we have boards and a net that cuts the ice in half, so 2 games can be played at once. So it opens
Okay.
up the ice a little bit more.
Sick. It's so
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah.
it's
is
fun.
so
Like there's a
cool.
lot of puck touches. Like it's constant offense. I feel bad for the goalies, but
Yeah, exactly.
Be
Goalies get a
sick.
little
I
burnt.
want to get in on that.
We get
Let's put
people
together a team, boys.
we get people like me and Ryan who are washed up. Well, Ryan's still definitely capable, but me washed up out there after a few Miller Lights, trying to drop some hits, throw a few pucks on net, and get off to my next
Little
beer.
backhand sauce.
Yeah, no, it's what Ryan just said is I think he tried to correct me if I'm wrong, Ryan, but I think you tried to do this with somebody a couple years ago. So actually, Julian, you kind of
yeah, no, I guess you're right.
your question kind of right, because
What do you mean?
so when you asked Ryan if there
Other
was a
ventures?
business that it wasn't his business, he was somebody that was trying to help
partner.
it out. Yeah, he was
I
a
was
partner.
a partner in the business, and it
Oh,
just
okay, yeah.
a couple, and it just wasn't working out. Just some disagreements, so we disbanded it, and it kind of like was put to bed for maybe 2 or 3 years. And I was just messing around one day, and like I wanted to do it. Like I just wanted to do it. It's a good idea. First, we did a couple with the other company, and the first one there was 24 teams. The next one there was maybe 10 to 15.
Yeah,
That's
And then
legit.
it kind of blew up, and I was okay with that. It just had to. We won't get into it, but it just had to. We had to go our separate ways, and then I wanted to do it again, and like I was like, I'm not going to partner with anybody. If I have to, like, per event we can do something or whatever, but I just wanted to do it. And then the back bar tourneys came from, I don't even know where that name came from. I was just kicking it around and it kind of
Sweet
stuck.
name.
I had a couple other names, but I felt like it was different. The logo is pretty cool. It's like more of like an outdoorsy kind of thing and summer related. So we did two actually last year at Middletown.
I was a part of one.
Yeah, the first one was pretty good. There was maybe like 16 teams, I think, something. We had like an A, a B, and a C maybe, or an A and a B division. And then the second one was smaller. It was only 6 teams, I think. But yeah, it's new. It's getting going, and like everyone who came had a blast.
Yeah, it
An
was so
absolute
fun.
blast. Like we had can jam, cornhole, music outside, like drink specials for the guys. Every team got like a bottle and a 30. Pink Whitney hooked it up. Like it was pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Like
Oh, that's sick.
you want to talk
Yeah,
about
no kidding.
looking
That's
forward to a
legit.
weekend. This is like mark it on your calendar, because this is something where it's like you're out
Yeah, I
with the
think you told me
boys,
to before.
play some puck, have a few beers, catch up with some guys you haven't seen. And it's really it's a unique event. And actually, Rye, you didn't even mention too, in the one division was it a pro-am division or a pro division, or the A
Yeah, I mean,
division just had a team with a few pros in it?
the top division was like sick. Like there was the worst guys on the ice were probably D3 NCAA guys. Like there
Yeah,
was
it was-
couple maybe
That's
like
legit.
5 or 6 NHL or NHL draft picks, a bunch of D1 guys, a bunch of D3 guys. Like it was good. It was really good. It was fun.
That's legit.
Yeah, it was an awesome idea.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
I think.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jules. No, go ahead, Jules.
I wanted to wait till the end, but since you're already on the topic, is where can people find that information from you?
So for back bar tourneys,
Yeah, for back bar tourneys.
so we have an Instagram page. It's at Back Bar Tourneys. We have a website too. I don't think it's live yet. It'll probably be live in the next month or so. We have a couple events coming.
Okay.
We're supposed to be doing at least one in Middletown, New Jersey, and one in Atlantic City, New Jersey.
Do you know what the URL, what that website is going to be, or is it like too confusing right now that you might be able to just put it in?
No, it'll be
We'll put it below too.
www.backbartourneys.com.
Cool. Yeah. So if you guys are interested in that, definitely go find that website. It'll be coming up.
We'll put all your
that's gonna be
tags,
super
right? We'll
exciting.
put Instagram. We'll put
for sure.
we'll talk to you if you want to put the website up yet if it's not live, but we'll throw whatever you want down in the description. Make sure people, because it is like Christmas in July, man. When they talk about Christmas, it's fun for guys that are, I think it's just as fun for the guys that have been out of the game for like a couple years as it is for like the little kids, the mites 3-on-3 and stuff like that. I think it's an awesome event.
It's sick. Like to play it is unreal. It's so, like, if you think about a 5-on-5, like even in a men's league game, how many times you touch the puck?
Yeah.
Not very many.
Yeah.
You don't have the puck that much. Even if you're one of the better guys on the rink, you don't have the puck that much.
Sure.
And this, it's like you have nowhere to go. The ice is cut in half. It's 3 guys. The games are short, 25-minute runtime games, but you play 2 in the same hour. And like the first comment, everyone's like, "Oh, 9 players, 25 minutes, like that's not enough." And I'm like, "Well, you get 6 games at least, and you play 2 in the same hour." I'm like,
like, guys, relax.
Yeah, it's a bag. It's an
Trust
Iron
it.
Man, man.
Yeah.
The first year we did it with
shit.
our team that we play with had 6. And we were all, at that time, we were all playing in college still. Like I was in really good shape and we were destroyed. We couldn't move. Like we were gassed. So the structure is pretty cool. It's definitely different, but it's a lot of fun for sure. Like we're going to start offering it for kids as well. We actually did one under Swain's Hockey Skills for kids, a little mini one over the Christmas break. We had like a group of mites, a group of squirts, and a group of peewees.
And you have one coming up, don't you?
Yeah, in the summertime.
What about the March one? The March 4th to 6th.
That's for mites, just a regular mite.
It's a regular mite tournament. Okay.
Yeah, but the
Yeah,
300 stuff is really cool. It's different. We try for the kids at least. We try to keep it as like a non-coaching environment. We just want it to be the kids to have fun, be creative, kind of not getting coached. Really, just playing the game.
yeah, which is a perfect way to segment into the next thing I wanted to talk to you about. So this is your technically not your first year of coaching. You coached a high school team as well, right? St. Rose high school. Obviously high school hockey in New Jersey. I know we both what our opinions are on it. If you play in some of the if you don't play in the top leagues, like CBA and stuff like it, it's definitely not like you're playing in Minnesota. But obviously you've seen the high school game and now coaching your first year, 18U AAA and U16 AAA. My question for you is, you know, we are the Inspire Network. So what do you out of the guys on your team this year? And I'm the assistant coach of that team for anyone that doesn't know. So I kind of know what's going on, but I'd like to ask you because I've seen you put a lot of time in, you know, you're a very emotional coach. And I say that with not you being like a nutcase on the bench, but I see you you get frustrated because you care so much about the development of the kids. And pretty sure that comes from you being a skills coach and wanting development and wanting progression. So for me, what what inspires you as a guy that has taken on a role to bring a team of, you know, a lot of kids are coming from tier 2, which if anyone doesn't know what that is, it's double A hockey. Triple A is the highest amateur, right, that you can play at 16 and 18, correct? So guys coming from tier 2 to tier, what inspires you to keep on, you know, bringing that same effort from a coaching perspective and bringing your expertise and not getting faded out and frustrated with, you know, the long season and all the commitment that you do put into coaching these two teams?
I mean, I think I just want to give back and try to help them develop. Like, I'm sure the three of us sitting here, we can name a couple, very few good coaches that we've had, and then you can name a lot of bad ones.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
myself
Exactly.
included. And we won't get into that of who's who, but you can kind of, at least for me, like I feel like I was a pretty good player on the ice mentally. Like that's where I pretty much succeeded, was my hockey sense, my ability to like see the ice. So I feel like that's big when I talk to these guys, because that's what I try to get them to see. And I keep telling them, like Jimmy knows, we had meetings at the beginning of the year, like, oh, do you guys take this seriously? Do you want to play college, junior, whatever? And most of them said yes. So I keep telling them, like, we want to win for sure, but at the end of the day, like, it doesn't matter to me. Like, I'd rather see 10 of you move up a level next year and just continue to move up. And you have to teach them the right things. You have to show them more so the stuff off the ice, what to do, how to prepare, what you should be doing mentally, day before the game, day morning of the
So
game,
important.
and like that's big. And I feel like they never were taught that. It's really just show up and go, which we kind of knew what we were getting into, because like he said, a lot of them were new for tier 1. But
Mhm.
that stuff for me, it's like I didn't know that till I was 20, probably, any of that. Any of the stuff that we're teaching them. Like I can't even imagine what would happen if I learned it at 10 or 12 or whatever. So that's kind of, even with the coaching and like the skill stuff, like I try to teach all the kids that stuff. And sometimes they look at you like you're crazy, but it's just the way. Like we tell them all the time, it's not my way, it's just the way. There's just
Yeah.
certain things that you have to do if you want to move up. And to get back to what I was saying before, it's not like, for me, we want to win. It's not the most important thing. And as individual players, like, you guys don't want to be the best kids at U16. Like, you don't want that to be your ceiling. You guys are looking at me saying NHL or Division 1 or Division 3. Like, it's a long way for you guys to get there. So you can't just strive to be the best kid at U16. You should be thinking about, now now we're in February. Like, you should be thinking about next year. You should be thinking about what you're going to do in the spring and the summer, how you're going to train, how you're going to eat, how you're going to recover. But a lot of kids say they want it, but they just don't want to do the work. And that's fine too. It's not knocking that. They just have to kind of decide, because the people that are above you and that are really super elite, like, that's what they're doing. It's not, I probably should do this, or maybe I could do this. It's just
It's a lifestyle.
Yeah.
It's literally their life.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, what do you? So going off of that, I think that's a gigantic point, is trying to get them to understand the even more so off the ice and what the outcome is on every weekend during the games, is trying to build their preparation, their diet, their work, work ethic, workout habits. Where do you see, as a coach, where do you see or what difficulties have you seen come up with, because every kid is different, right? I think me and Jules talked about it on I think it was the second podcast we might have talked
last
about
you're talking about commitment.
We talked about,
I was going to bring up the same things you said
commitment
about
and
it.
Control. And I think from a coaching standpoint, how do we teach these guys? And you did bring up, most of the good points, but how do we teach these kids, what actually commitment is from a coaching standpoint? Like, where do you begin to see where the guys who just don't get it, and the guys who are willing to kind of go ahead and finally take the advice that you're giving them and utilizing it? And what can they do as athletes? Because I think some of the kids don't come to us. This is me speaking as, seeing the kids all year as the assistant coach, but I think the kids don't come to us because they might not know the correct way to go about it, and they might be scared to ask because we've told them and they've kept on getting it wrong. So what can you say to young athletes, whether it's the kids on our team or kids that you train, on how to build commitment and how to become serious in your craft and know where you want to go with hockey specifically, because that is your expertise? Long question, but I hope you understand where I'm coming from.
Yeah, I mean, they say like 2 weeks to build a habit, right? And for me, that's like, in my life, it's been huge, like ups and downs with training and working out, not working out, more so now, eating habits, like, what do you have to do? And when you're playing, like, a lot of kids, they really just don't do the right things. They just don't. Off the ice, they think, I can come to the rink 15 minutes before practice, jump on the ice for an hour, and go home. And again, if that's what you want to do, go ahead. Like, there's a lot of time and place for that. And there's way more kids doing that than there are kids doing the right things. So you have to kind of just be honest with yourself and your parents on what exactly you're trying to accomplish. But if you're trying to take it seriously, like, you should be at the rink an hour before practice. You should be warming up before practice. You should be stretching
Stick handling.
You should be in the gym Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, especially as like a youth guy. You don't have to crush yourself, but you should be training. Like, you should be building, making yourself stronger and mentally stronger too. Like, you should be going home and not melting on the Xbox or the TV. Like, you should be going to sleep early, put your phone down. All these little things, it's hard. It's not easy, right? That's why most people don't do it. But if you're trying to be successful, especially in sport, not so much just hockey, right? All these athletes, like, you have to take it seriously. And it can't just be for an hour a day. It can't be. Like, it's never going to work.
Yeah.
It's never going to work.
No.
You can relate all those little lessons. For people who don't play hockey, you can relate all those little lessons in preparation and the things that you need to do. Well, for hockey, obviously, but you can relate that over to life too. Like, even going to your 9 to 5, like, that's not enough. You gotta come back and still do the extra work and all that kind of stuff. So those are good points.
I don't think it stops. It's a lifestyle.
It's a lifestyle. Yeah, for sure.
I mean, it doesn't stop for you, even, right? As a coach, like,
no, right? Yeah. Well,
like, if it doesn't stop for the coach, it shouldn't stop for the player, right? Because at the end of the day, how many times do we constantly reiterate the point that we can't go out there and play for you. We can only give you the tools in which to craft what you guys are going to go out there and do. And I think, for me as a coach as well, I think these guys, they get it confused on where we're supposed to just, it's a handout thing, right? You're supposed to just continually be told and told and told what the right answer is. And very few, I've seen a few. That's why I say very few. I won't say all of them, but not as much as I'd like to see kids come in and really take the time to come and approach us and ask us, and then on their own time figure it out. Right? I mean, we're all adults now, and I'm sure Rye and you can kind of express what you want to say about what I'm about to bring up, but I'm sure when you were starting your business and we were starting our jobs, we had no idea, right? We didn't know what the right answers were. And you touched on it earlier in the podcast on, how you had to go through obstacles. But I think, you know, you have to want to go out there and find the answers. And if I told Julian, me and Julian talked about this, like I said in episode 2, and I was trying to tell him that if you're not willing to go out there and find the answers without someone by yourself, without anyone having to tell you to do that, you're not going to last. You're going to fade out.
What do you
And
call YouTube again? What is that?
YouTube University,
YouTube University.
that's
You
where
got
it
to think
is.
of one for Google Academy.
Yeah, no, but seriously,
What
and
about it?
I think too many people look for handouts, and I'd like to hear from you, Rye. Like, how much effort did it take? Because running a business is not just, all right, show up, got my skates, I know how much the ice costs, this is how much I'm getting paid. Okay, go home, do it for 12 months, 365 days, and then just keep going, collecting money. Like, there's taxes involved, there's investments involved, there's, building new avenues within your business, and how much, how you have to decide how much that risk is going to cost and whether it's worth it. Like, so where, how much effort did it take you, because obviously you're here, right? 4 or 5 years, we see your commitment. So like, where can you tell these guys, like, how would you go about at their age? Specifically, I'm talking about the 16-year-old age, because the 18s, either you should know it or you don't at that point. Um, for me, maybe first year junior, I might be being a little hard on them, but for like the 16-year-old, the 15-year-olds, and even the younger guys like peewees that you coach, where can they find on how to be more committed, or how can they approach coaches on how to become more committed?
I mean, I think they just have to ask questions, and there's a right way and time to do that, and use resources to contact not just your coach but other people in the game, and try to get different opinions from different people. But I mean, there's little things that you could do every day that I think over time will just it'll be automatic, like going to the gym, warming up before practice, like
Little habits.
the things that people talk about that sound stupid or don't seem like a big deal, but it's a huge deal.
Yeah.
Because
In the long term.
I didn't learn any of this stuff until U18, and even then it wasn't like, it was very serious, but it wasn't how I prepared so much in junior. Like once I
Hmm.
played junior, then it was a little bit. I took it seriously, so maybe my vision is, or my what I'm saying is a little bit skewed. But some of these kids, how they prepare now, it's just crazy to me. It's crazy to
Yeah.
me. Like I just don't get it, and it's not even a knock on them, because they just don't know any better. And you try to
Yeah.
tell them, and they look at you like you're crazy, and I'm just like, you ask and want to go somewhere else better. We're trying to tell you what to do, and how. Like my biggest thing is now, like, we're almost at the end of the year, and again, this isn't a knock on anybody, but how many times are we going to tell you to do something and you're not going to do it, or you're going to do it 50%? And I'm not even talking about on the ice. I'm just saying off the ice. Like, you don't want to warm up together. You don't want to stretch. You don't want to do this. It's just like, okay, it's fine. We'll accept it. But you're doing yourself a disservice. You're
Hmm.
doing your parents a disservice. You're paying a lot of money and you're not going to use all the avenues you have in the facility that you have, like it just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
I think even when people really start to understand that kind of thing when they don't have it anymore too, like you guys caring so much and having that passion to exploit what you guys know, your knowledge about it, to kids who don't really know about it. They're gonna
Lost your train of thought here.
I lost my
You're
train of thought here.
talking about people that have been out of the game for a while and how much that we
You're exploiting. You exploiting your knowledge to understand. Damn, it was a good point.
Well, that's he was mind blown. He was mind blown by it. No, what I think he's trying to
step back a little
say.
bit.
What I think
No,
he's trying to
you're definitely right, because here we see it all the time. Like the facility that these kids have here is insane.
Oh, that's what I was trying to say, is that when they
$1
don't have it.
Yeah.
So
These kids
like when they
their
get a
locker
different coach,
rooms.
when they have a different coach next year, they're going to be like, oh shit, they were talking about something that was important. Like this coach doesn't even do anything. Like he's not telling me to work out before or anything like that. So the experiences that you're giving them now, they're going to take that to the next coach that is dog shit and want to be better because they know what they've already had. They're like, they're going to be pissed. They're going to be pussed though, because they'll be like, damn, we had something good and didn't put effort towards it.
Correct.
That's what I wanted to say, guys. Sorry.
I think they work, and I think they want to do it, but I just like they don't know what the next level is, I guess, and it's not their fault. Like it just like going from A or double A into triple A is a huge jump, but to go from, for instance, 16 to 18, that's another huge jump. Like 2 years, like you're 16 going to play against an 18-year-old or a 17-year-old playing against an almost 19-year-old. It's a huge jump for a lot of kids, and like it only the funnel gets smaller the higher you go, right? So it's a big adjustment. It's a big commitment too from the players and the parents. So for me, like I always tell them, just be honest with yourselves and do what you need to do. Like we're telling you, and if I say all the time, you don't have to listen to me. You don't have to. I'm just telling you what I know and what I can give you my best advice. If you want to talk to other people, go ahead. But some of the stuff, they're going to tell you the same thing. Most of the stuff, they're going to tell you the same thing.
Yeah. And I think for you specifically, I think that, hang on 1 second, guys. Sorry, there's people interrupting the stream right now. Don't understand what we're trying to build here. But what I was trying to say is, do you think, it falls more upon the responsibility falls more upon the coaches, like when people are being hired or when coaches actually accept the job, they need to be more like, so for instance, what I'm trying to explain is the kids that we receive from tier 2. Do you feel that those guys in those earlier rankings until they get to AAA need to have more of an understanding of how serious they need to take the job in order to get these kids developed at an earlier level? Like if kids, for instance, and you could speak to this, like skills coaches, and I speak from a hockey expertise. I know we have Ryan on, but I've grew up in the game too. So like skills coaches is like a newer thing, right? There wasn't like crazy amount of skills coaches like Robbie Glantz and Gary Carr, all those, or whatever, is Gary Carter or Greg Carter, forget who it was, but power skating coaches was a thing. So like, do you think that the responsibility falls more so on how emotional and how connected that the coaches at the tier 2 level need to be to their job with kids that want to take the game seriously or have the potential that they recognize?
I mean, I think I don't know if it falls on the coaches or the organizations, but someone has to take responsibility, because there's a lot of good kids, especially at the younger ages, at the lower levels, that they just get missed or they don't have any direction and like I consider myself one of those guys. Like I played 2 years of Band and B.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know. Like this next season I played double A and then went to triple A 2 years after that. But like for someone to do that now, it's kind of crazy because there's way more teams. It's a little bit diluted and everything like that. But
Speculative, yeah.
there's so many kids that I coach and that I see like their parents on Facebook, they're posting how good little Johnny's doing in their PBA game, and then they'll go play a bad AA team and get killed and be like, who are those kids? Like, how are they that good? And at the end of the day, like, that's not even close to the top. And I get it. We're talking about little kids and youth hockey, and like, does it really matter at that point? Maybe, maybe not. But for all these people that want to take it seriously and they want to get like actually get better and have the opportunity to move up, I think it definitely can start at a young age. You don't have to be Herb Brooks or somebody really, really strict screaming at little kids to portray a good message and build a good habit for them. Because if I knew what I knew if I knew at 12 what I knew now, like, I have no idea where my hockey career would have taken me.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. And the only reason I asked that is because I think, we have gotten on our team specifically, to take it as an example, I think we have gotten a lot of kids that have a high upside of potential, but just haven't been coached in the game or, haven't been coached on preparation. And it kind of brings me to my next question is like, so for me and you, right, we kind of set a standard during the first meetings with our players with, if you remember this, and if he watches this podcast, he's going to know who it is. But one of the guys, we asked all the kids to, bring a notebook or pen and paper and the night before our one-on-one meetings to write their goals, hockey wise, and, what they want to do with their life. And I know most guys came in, they had them. And one guy who's actually a pretty big part of our team, skill wise, he came in and he's like, oh, I remembered it. I have it in my head. And this is one thing that I kind of respected from you, and I'll explain why. But without hesitation, and Jules, I'll tell you this because I'm actually talking to you because Ryan knows what I'm talking about. But without hesitation, he goes, he's like, can I go? He's like, nope. We'll talk tomorrow. You can leave. You're dismissed. And the kid was like shell shocked. He was like, what? He's like, I remember. He's like, no, we'll talk tomorrow. Dismissed. And the kid must have came back like 3 or 4 times. The first time he came back with a piece of paper, I wrote, are you serious? I got to go home? Yep. Tomorrow. And then he came back with a piece of paper with it written down. He's like, I got it. He's like, no. And Ryan kept on saying to, like, it's just, you're not, even though this kid is like maybe our most skilled player on our team, Ryan set a standard that you're not going to be better. You're not better than anyone else in this team, whether you like it or not. Right. And I don't think the kid may have thought
cancers are no good.
No, it's not even that. He's a good kid and he works very hard, but I don't think he meant to come off like that. But Ryan showed the rest of the guys that this is how we're going to do things. And when I say something, you're going to ask, jump how high. And I think it's important for him to show those kids that, and then be able to kind of build that culture with them so that they take responsibility for their teammates and start to hold each other accountable. And I think, Ryan, you can agree, some guys have started to a little bit more towards the end of the year here, holding guys accountable. But my grander point with this little tangent I'm on is, where do you begin, or like for you as a coach and a business owner, where do you begin to, or how do you build standards within your teams and in your business? Because obviously with business, it's your time. And when you're coaching, you're building standards to try and build a culture. So like, how do those two kind of overlap? You can talk about the hockey thing first and then the business, but like, how do you set, for you, what's the most important thing about setting standards in coaching and in your business?
I mean, I think it's important in coaching just to create some kind of barrier, I guess, and kind of show the kid. And for me, it's not so much like like a power thing. It's more so like, I want to help you guys. There's a way that you need to do things. Like, this is it. And again, it's not going to be perfect. You might have a difference of opinion, but
Misinterpreted, trying to do that too.
Yeah.
Very misinterpreted. I was talking about that last week. But keep going. Yeah,
we have pretty good experience and knowledge, and like, what do you guys have? Like,
Yeah.
there was some stuff that we tried to implement, and kids are like, "Oh, this doesn't work. Why don't we do this? Why don't we do that?" And
the kids are saying that.
What?
The kids are saying that.
Yeah,
I want to do this.
a couple times that they've said that, and I don't even get mad. I'm more like, okay, like, we'll show you why. You're definitely wrong, but we'll show you why. And sometimes I want to bash my head off the wall, because I'll go home for 10 minutes and throw on the NHL Network, and within the first 10 minutes, there's a clip of exactly what we're talking about. And then I just start laughing, and I'll send it to them in the group chat.
That's got to be the worst.
I'm like,
that's got to be the worst to go back. We just talked about this, and you obviously see it here.
Yeah, here you go. Like, do you see that? Do you see this? And then some of the kids will respond like fairly fast, and they'll tell me like not even close to what I'm talking about, almost like they weren't even on the ice at practice.
They guess a lot.
Yeah, so I mean, it's trying to teach them, and it's more than hockey too. Like, you have to have a standard in life. Like, it's
right.
If your boss asks you, like, I guess, who am I to talk, because I don't have a boss per se. But when someone,
exactly,
when the owner of the rink,
it's a good problem to have.
The club asks you to do something, like, you just do it. Like, it's just, you have sometimes you have to do it, even if you don't want to do it. You just have to do it. And if you don't like it and don't want to do it again, then you can have a conversation about whatever it is. But like, there's just some things that I guess the standard, like, I hold the standard pretty high for the kids on the team, because I know when I was that age, I didn't have what they have, from the coaching, from the gym, from the access to the ice, from everything. And I know if I did, I would be abusing it, not taking it for granted. And I think that's what makes me angry more than anything else, is that they have all these avenues to help them succeed, and they maybe use 20, 30% of it.
No, 100%. And that's why I asked you the question, because I think we do hold the kids at a high standard, and I think it's good for that age to understand that to build a habit of where they hold themselves on a high standard. Because in life, if you let people walk all over you and you have low standards, you're gonna not really amount to too much. Another thing too is, Jules, we had a coach that kind of held us to a high standard, kind of set these expectations in junior hockey. We won't say his name, but in that time period, coaching that hockey team, he set standard. And that's why I like the way that we coach our guys and set a standard, because sometimes you don't know, what they may be having set at home, what their expectations are, what they're being told, as if, this is just, hockey, you're going to go to school next year. Their parents just don't understand. Again, like Ryan said, they're not hockey guys. Or just parents in general, they just don't understand the game. So holding them to these higher standards also helps increase their potential indirectly, because if they continue to try and continue to meet that high standard, they're just going to grow, naturally, organically. But my other question is, I think you answered that perfectly. My other question is, off of what I was saying before, how does that translate to your business with your time with clients and other people that, like, for me, for instance, when I want your time, or if another guy on the staff wants your time, or you want to do, how do you set standards with your brand? Kind of in the same way you set standards with your players.
Yeah, I mean, I try to just do everything a little bit different and more efficient than the competition. Like, there's a ton of guys that can do the same stuff. Anybody can do it, but I feel like we do a good job of separating ourselves, and I want it to be just different. Like, it doesn't necessarily, like, I don't want to say better or the best or whatever, because there's a million kids, there's a million rinks, there's a million guys that do this with way more knowledge than me, higher level than me, and it's it's just what it is. But the things that we can control is our quality control, what we do, our staff. Like, I want it to be pretty tidy, from how we communicate with people to the on ice stuff to the organization of the tournaments, the camps, what we give to the kids whenever we have events, and really just the overall view of the product at the end of the day. And we want to help these kids advance as much as we can with what we do. And I think we have a lot of people who are pulling in the same direction, that work with us. And like, I don't even want to say work for me or for us, because I feel like we're just all doing the same stuff. Like, we're all pulling the rope in the same direction. So I feel like it's good to have a high standard, just to just try to be efficient, or more efficient than anyone around. And I don't even focus on other people around. I just know what we have, and I know it's pretty good. And I know that if we keep doing what we're doing, it's just going to continue to grow.
Yeah, just bringing value, right? It's like value is the most important part, and that's what's gonna separate you from everybody else. Like you said, everyone can do certain things, right? But when you start bringing more value, that's where you kind of make your separation from the pact, which is cool to hear.
No, I agree with you, Julian. I just think it's important questions to ask, because some people just start things, and we talked about it in episode 1, where Julian finally got me to come out of the crow's nest and get this thing rolling, because I was so worried about quality, and worried about, because obviously this is my first time going ahead and using this type of equipment, editing videos, stuff like that. So I wanted to make sure it was the best quality, because that's what I see the most valuable podcasts in the world doing. They have good quality, they have good content, and they piece everything together very nicely so it's understood by their audience. And I think what we're doing here, even today, right? I think, just even if we don't have a lot of hockey people in our audience, I think a lot of things on what we said business wise and setting standards and why you're inspired to do this and help better the next generation of hockey players. I think that can translate to a lot of different career paths, entrepreneurially and in life. And that's what we're trying to do here. And I think, Julian, if you have anything else to add, I think, Ryan, you really helped shine the picture of kind of the struggles that you had early on, and what it takes to kind of push through those and understand that it might not be tomorrow, but it may be the next day, or it may be the next day, and it may be the next day, and just keep pushing through. And I think for people out there, it's just to understand that, because I've seen this guy, he's being very humble right now. I've remember when he first told me he started. I wish I could have been there to help earlier on. I'm here now, and I'm glad to help. That I'll do pretty much anything to help build the brand, because I see what it does to the kids, and I wish I had it at that age from somebody that had the integrity and honesty that you do. But this guy does a really, really good job, and he means well. And we need more people in every job field to take their job and their passion as seriously as you do. So we really appreciate you coming on and letting people know that it's really not that hard to start, but it definitely takes work, and it takes getting up, and it takes strategizing, and eventually you will get there, and you won't have to ref 23 games in a week. You can just go do private lessons and run tournaments and watch the kids have fun while you make a living. And I think that's very important. I think that's inspiring, as it is. So, I mean, Julian, do you have anything to add to the value that our friend Ryan had brought here today?
No, Swain, thank you so much, man. You were a blast, and we appreciate you, coming on here and supporting us, talking about your views on your business and how you can help inspire others. So we really appreciate it, and we gotta definitely get some dates. I don't know if we went over dates, but I want to join that 3-on-3 thing.
Yeah,
and
well, listen,
see if we can get a part of that.
We'll definitely. I mean, he's definitely. We've had the conversation where we want to stretch it outside of New Jersey. So
I'm
There's
in
definitely
Michigan.
opportunity, and Michigan's not a bad hockey town. But so yeah, no, Rye, is there anything else that you want to kind of let people know, whether it's tournaments, whether it's stuff that you've been working on, whether it's like advice for young entrepreneurs or advice for young hockey players, anything in your area of expertise that you want to kind of just convey before we close up shop here?
I would just say that if you're thinking about doing something or you're stuck and you don't know what to do and you have an opportunity, like just do it. I mean, hopefully you have some sort of fallback plan. I really didn't. I said when I started the business, if I make enough money to live in a mud hut, I would do that before
We talk about it all the time. He's not lying.
Like, and I really think I really mean it. Like, I don't know. Like, I just
We
feel
talked
like
about this last week. Be all in.
Yep.
Yeah.
Be all in.
Like, just do it.
Yeah.
No, but thank you guys for having me.
No, this is as a
Hey,
first
thank you,
guest.
man. Thank you. Yeah, that was
as a
awesome.
first guest,
That was a
it's
blast.
pretty exciting for me and Julian to go ahead and actually get this done. We're starting to build something here, whether there's 10 people watching, 100 people, 1,000 people. We'll get there, as did you. Few clients to many, and still building. So as for us over here at the Inspire Network, it is Julian Levert, now Ryan Swain, and Jimmy Gill for episode 3 of the Inspire Network podcast. We will
stay inspired, guys. Stay inspired. Keep it going.
Thanks, guys.
Take it easy, Ryan.
Take action.
Again,
Thanks,
stay
Ryan.
inspired.
We
Just do
appreciate
it.
you.
Not Nike, but just do it.
That's
Have a good
sure.
night.
Have a
Take
good night,
it easy,
everybody.
everyone. Episode 4 will be out soon. Later.